When I see it, I see this is a weak man boy. I'm telling you, if my children, if my sons actually looked up to these guys, I would see it as a failure of my masculinity and my fatherhood.
Yes.
I don't care if you can fight and you can speak and you have money. If you're arrogant, you're a weasel. You're a moral weasel, with all due respect.
Now it seems like there's a big focus amongst the Muslim community, amongst men,
Yes.
young males, and we see these influencers. They accept Islam, and then again, this hero worship, gravitating towards the brightest star.
Yeah.
And again, did we platform some of these people too much? They're new Muslims, so we're not talking about even JP, who's not a Muslim. Did we platform them too early? They became too much of an authority. They had too much influence. Was there enough, checking or pushback against some of the ideas that they were bringing into the mix? What are your thoughts on that? Because I think we're in the middle of this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an amazing, polite way of holding me to account. It's good. You're right, bro.
Yeah.
You're right. Like, obviously you're, obviously talking about Andrew Tate and others. Look, my position.
I'm impressed that you can actually say his name, because some people are afraid to what's going to be the pushback and things like that.
I mean, I hopefully do not consider myself one of the algorithm prostitutes where I'm a slave to the algorithm. I need people to like and share me. I'm too old for that. I'm 44 now. I mean, sorry to say.
Yeah.
The point is, I would agree that when people have a massive platform and they become Muslim, and I mentioned this in a very early podcast, I think it was a Thinking Muslim podcast, the advice is, don't say anything, get off social media, learn your religion. Simple as that. Learn what Allah says. Have an Allah-centric life. It's as simple as that. And that didn't happen. And, unfortunately, because we have not very good parenting in some Muslim communities, people look up to people like this because they're rich and they're articulate. But when you look at some of the stuff that they've been promoting, which is literally arrogance, I'm not saying they're arrogant. I'm not judging anyone. I believe everyone's better than me. Hassan al-Basri said, one of the famous scholars of Islam, that when you leave the house, you should believe every Muslim is better than you. Why? This is a rational point. Because you have to have husn al-dhan, good opinion of others. You know your context and your sins and your failures. You don't know theirs, and you have to have a good opinion of them. So by default, they're better than you. So there's not a judgment. But from the apparent, it's arrogance. It's avid capitalism, excessive capitalistic mindset. It's principles and ideas that are
so you don't believe like a real man should be a multi-millionaire and drive the most. Is that like a requirement for being a real rijal?
No,
a real man.
That's not a necessary requirement
you know
at
what I mean?
all. Because look at the best men that walked this planet, the Sahaba and the Prophet ﷺ. They didn't have anything. But that doesn't also mean that we shouldn't actually try and get a portion of the dunya. Of course we should. That's neither here or there. But these are not necessary features of being a man. In actual fact, when you study what it means to be a true man, you actually deal with your ego. You actually deal with the spiritual disease of the heart. I don't care if you can fight and you can speak and you have money. If you're arrogant, you're a weasel. You're a moral weasel, with all due respect. I'm saying this in general terms, of course. If you can't bench press your ego, I don't care how much you can bench press, right? I don't care. All due respect, we need to go back to basics. And where are the fathers in these Muslim young men's lives? Where are the fathers? I'm telling you, if my children, if my sons actually looked up to these guys, I would see it as a failure of my masculinity and my fatherhood. Sorry to say. Come on, man. You got these people that are just so antithetical to the spirit of Islam, arrogant, avidly materialistic, also saying things that are literally not in line with the Islamic values. Well, I'm sorry, we have to draw a line, have some self-respect and draw the line. Wallahi, uqsum billah. Let's be honest. If a sister who reverted said some of the things that that particular person or other people have said, the whole social media would be on fire. Would be on fire.
Like if a sister walked around with her shirt off all the time.
Come on, bro. that wasn't necessary.
You know what I mean?
But I get the point.
I'm reading the Quran in my underwear. You know what I mean?
That's not the point.
Yeah.
I get your point. But look, let's get serious.
Yeah.
The point here is we have to be consistent.
Yeah.
And what it has exposed, in my view, is that a lot of our brothers, unfortunately, they're not principled. I'm going to be honest. It's maybe they're not aware of it, but it seems like a very unprincipled stance. It's a very unprincipled stance.
Does it also maybe indicate low self-esteem? Like they don't have, because if you have, maybe you have those principles, but you're kind of shaky. Like you know what the truth is.
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm not talking about the particular individual. I'm talking about our du'at.
Du'at.
Who haven't said as much as they should against, maybe the perceived arrogance or the perceived avid materialism or the perceived, haram pictures that have come out and, un-Islamic principles that have been portrayed.
Maybe they're still going through their 72 excuses.
Yeah, but do it for others then.
Yeah,
but this is my point.
You don't do it for everyone.
Don't be consistent.
Yeah.
Because it's not within your, algorithm echo chamber.
Yeah.
Right? You're basically a little bit more softer. To be honest, I don't consider this as manly behavior. This is a demasculated approach. This is not principled. Actually, it's not honorable. Come on, man. Are we still having this discussion? Are you saying to me, Wallahi, bro, you have children?
Yes.
You have a son, mashallah,
yes.
the 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Allah bless him. Let me tell you something. If you were to play the past year's clips of a certain individual in terms of what he has said, would you want your son to even listen to any of that stuff?
He wouldn't. He would be. He himself would not.
Yeah, I get it. Mashallah, well done.
Yeah.
But would you want him to access that
no,
approach, mindset, that kind of characteristic, even some of the priorities or perspectives of masculinity that they're talking about, all of that stuff, right? To be honest, and I'm going to be very clear with you, right? A lot of this, in my view, and I'm psychoanalyzing this, is actually, I call it the fame of the fatherless, okay? A lot of the guys who are very famous online, they have very troubling past or troubling relations with their father, and no matter how they speak about them, when you actually understand the situation, it's a troubling experience, And what that happens is then you project onto the world to get that type of affirmation that you should have got from your father. Now this may be overdoing it, it's too much
I agree with you. I agree with you. You know why?
But I've seen it as a pattern.
No.
And I'll tell you why, because I've been in leadership positions. I'm still in leadership position and I see this trend. Now this is not to judge certain individuals, but people need to be self-aware that a lot of things that happen actually, when I see it, I see this is a weak man boy. With all due respect. I don't care how you frame it and this, that, and the other. I'll give you an example. The guy's brother, I was sorry to say, I'm a bit excited now, but sorry to say, someone mentioned him in a gathering and I said, this guy's homosexual. Now, I'm not saying in his sexual preference. I did it in a way just to show that, he's not a real man. I'll tell you why. The guy justified having a pro-Zionist, pro-genocidal weasel, rat, in his inner circle and in the groups that they have. And he was justifying it to our brother Dili, may Allah bless him, because he was holding them to account. He was justifying saying, we don't have politics in these things because they're professional men. Let me tell you something, if there was a pro-genocidal guy in my inner circle, I would be in prison or he would be in hospital. One of those two things. You're saying to me it's a manly thing to allow someone like that in the name of what? In the name of what? Of utility? Of because he might help you make money? What kind of immoral stance is that? Are we serious? It's equivalent of having one of Hitler's henchmen in your inner circle saying, I'm not going to hold him to account, I'm going to still have him in my inner circle because it's business, bro. That means you're just a slave, you're a dismasculated slave. You're enslaved to either the algorithm, to fame, to your materialistic objectives. I can't take someone like that seriously. Now they may be very offended if they're ever going to hear this. I don't care. I would fight you for this too. Let's get in a ring, no problem. Because someone has to speak now, bro. Someone, you've rattled me.
No, I'm good.
No,
I'm glad.
Someone has to speak because, look, I'm in a leadership position, whether I like it or not, and it's a big weight on the shoulders, man. And when you look at what's happening, enough is enough. How can we even allow? Wallahi, think about this. We are an ummah of the Sahaba. We are the ummah of righteous men. We are the ummah of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu an. We are the ummah of, Umar who basically would not eat food because the majority of his people wouldn't eat that type of food. He was an ascetic. He had zuhud. He had, self-accountability. He was humble. He, when he went into Jerusalem, he was holding the riding beast, and his servant was on there, and his clothes were full of patches. The one who opened Jerusalem for us. These are the people, the Prophet ﷺ, who basically, in Shama'il Tirmidhi, he said, oh, what a wonderful curry vinegar is. He would take a piece of bread and dip it in vinegar. When he's invited to a home that had rancid fat, he would attend that house. The Prophet was so humble that, when someone came up to him and he was shaking, he was like, don't worry, I'm just the son of a mother who used to make jerked meat, right? This is the people that we came from. This is our tradition. And yet we have many of our youth looking up to people who are, with all due respect, from prima facie, from the face of it, arrogant, materialistic, unprincipled, antithetical. And you have other guys in America, I don't want to mention the guy's name, I have a lot of respect for him. Honestly, take your face out of his posterior, man.
Yeah.
Like, have some honor.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great guy, we're doing things, brotherhood. Wallahi, when I see things like this, it's like I don't know what to say. You don't have principle or honor. What happened to honor, bro?
Yeah.
What happened to honor and principle? We should define ourselves with timeless Islamic principles, not utilitarian relationships. I'm gonna maneuver with him because he's famous and rich, because he's gonna give me some kind of goal as well. Have some honor for the community. We want our young men to look up to, frankly, people like you, bro. People like the volunteers, Dr. Umar.
Do you know how...
That's who they should look up to. Not some man boy who doesn't have principle.